just overall, just a couple of quick comments. I think we got about what we needed to get done today. I thought the tempo was good. First team defense, I think, played excellent. Started taking a lot of those guys out. Once we started taking those guys out offensively, we started moving the ball a little bit, which is a head coach, that's kind of what you want to see. So, just thought the guys played hard. It's been a successful spring. I think we've got somewhere around 850 snaps that we filmed. We'll make all the cut-ups, and then we'll be able to look through those things all summer and be able to make some corrections and get guys in positions before the team gets ready in August. So, with that said, I will take some questions.
As head coach, you're happy with that. As an offensive coach, what are your thoughts coming out of today from what you saw to your first teamers?
Okay. Probably didn't make as many plays at receiver as I would have liked. We gotta get Mario the ball probably a little bit more. We're looking for some inside receivers. Been happy with the way the backs and the tight ends. We're doing a lot of that stuff with those guys. I'm happy with those guys as far as their production. It's not necessarily the stats that make a difference with it, but it's those guys are tough and they're playing hard and they're in good spots, and we're able to do a lot of things with them. So probably need to get some just from a playmaking standpoint, we need to get those guys the ball a little bit more. I was a little disappointed in that. Once we settle on a quarterback, then that will help. When you're rotating quarterbacks and you're playing a bunch of different people, it's hard to get into a rhythm. So obviously that's going to have to be something that we focus on all summer and as quickly as we can in August to figure out who that guy's going to be, and then let him develop a relationship with all those guys.
Small, what have you liked out of him?
Versatile. Best thing that Charles Sims ever did by coming here is teach those guys how to be versatile, how to practice hard, how to be unselfish. All those guys, Bowie as well, but all those guys, it doesn't matter what position that they're playing. They all want the ball and they all want to be the featured running back, but if that's not, they don't mind getting in receivers and, catching passes downfield. I told you Wendell was probably our second best inside receiver. I may give him the best inside receiver right now. And then obviously being able to put him in the backfield and give him the ball a bunch has been good. So very versatile and very productive.
What about the decision to let the quarterbacks absorb some contact today?
I thought it was fun. It's fun watching those guys get hit. When we did that about 6 days, they weren't making the progress that we wanted. And then about 6 days ago, about 6 practices ago, we go, let's let them get hit. The sense of urgency picked up. It's really going to be good for our defense to see a lot. How many teams do we face that are going to run their quarterbacks a bunch? So it's been good for our defense to see it, and then their production I think picked up. So I was pleased with how they performed over the last 6 days.
Is there a point where you'll cut that off?
Better be. You're going to add Clint, and then you're going to add William Kress. So there's 2 more that you got to add. So we'll study these. We'll study the cut-ups, carefully and see where they're at, and then monitor their progress June and July. And then when August comes around, we're going to have to make a decision and go with it.
Talk about monitoring progress there. It's going to be a little different off-season for you guys with the extra access. Have you thought about that and how you're going to approach that with the extra time with the guys?
All of June. Less vacation time for coaches. That we don't want to be around them so much to where when August rolls around, they're sick and tired of us. Because once August rolls around, obviously we'll have quite a bit of contact with them. But the last 2 weeks of May, we'll be out recruiting, so we won't be around them much then. And then when we get back here in June, for about 4 weeks in June, we're going to be able to have team meetings. We're going to be able to split it and watch offense, defense for a couple hours a week, and then just monitor where they're at. It's going to be easier to monitor where they're at and what they're doing.
You talked about defense. Are you convinced this defense is better right now than it was last year?
Oh, yeah. Athleticism in the secondary is not even close. Been happy with the progress with the defensive line. Those guys are are learning to be unselfish and hold their gaps. And then, the second level guys, we got so many guys with experience, Kwiatkowski and Isaiah Bruce, and you're going to add Jared Barber, you're going to add Wes Tonkery. Brandon Golson didn't play. He's got a little bit of a shoulder. He'll be fine. But Edward Muldrow's athletic. Al Benton's athletic. We got guys on that second level that have played a bunch, but the biggest difference I see is the secondary guys with KJ Dillon and Carl Joseph. Those guys are extremely disruptive off the edge. Darryl Worley has had a phenomenal spring. Mario's confidence is a little down right now because he's had to go against him so much. Kid makes play after play after play. Jared Harper has played well. So the athleticism in the secondary, the experience at linebacker, and the development of the D-line, I've been very pleased with.
Dana, between now and the next time you do see the quarterbacks, though, and I know there's going to be more the next time, but how can you sort them out and begin to have at least a starting point when you do get
Can't. I mean, you can't. We can watch film with them. We can coach them. We can watch all the cut-ups that we've have right now, but the spring's over. We have, about 850 clips that we can learn from. That's all we can do with them. We can watch them lift weights. We can watch them do sprints, but we can't do any football stuff with them between now and August 1. So to answer your question, there's really not much we can do. We can teach them. We can teach them in the classroom is all we can do.
I don't say too crowded, I guess, but I mean, you have to act really quickly
Yes.
at that time because there's so many guys.
Gonna have to. Gonna have to come up with a plan. There's 5 of them, but we're gonna have to come up with a plan. We're gonna have to narrow it down. We're gonna have to figure out who the guy is, and we're gonna have to give him all the reps.
You're totally convinced that Trickett will be ready to go when you want him to go?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that 850 number. Is that more? Is
It's
that
a little bit of a guess, but yeah.
Is that more than you've done in
No, it's
previous-
about normal.
Okay.
It's about normal. We usually end up with about, the spring cut-ups and then the regular cut-ups throughout the year is pretty similar.
Is this a situation of a quarterback that if somebody's not doing well, you're going to pull the trigger a lot faster on these guys at game time?
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of time in August to be able to make these decisions. You get 28 practices, so 20 of them are going to be non-Alabama prep. 20 to 22 of them are going to be non-Alabama prep, to where we just practice and we need to get better, and guys need to step up and make plays and take control of that position. And then about a week before the game, we'll focus on Alabama and obviously have that decision made well before then.
Is this any different than last year, really, where you wound up using different quarterbacks, 2 weeks at a time?
Well, again, I've never done that before, and I think we would all agree it's not the answer. If you look across the country, the one thing about it is, if you look across the country, we weren't the only team in that situation. Everybody in the Big 12 was playing a couple of different quarterbacks because of a variety of reasons. And I think the game is changing where those quarterbacks are running a lot more. They're more athletic. They're running more, which means they're in harm's way more. So if you want to win a championship, if you want to have a successful season and go to a great bowl game or the playoff or whatever it is, then your second-team quarterback's got to be able to go in there and he's got to be able to win games. So, we have guys that have taken reps. We have guys that know what to do. The continuity with the rest of the guys, I think, is going to be better than it was a year ago.
Some of that read option stuff, something you really want to do this year?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's something that we haven't really done much of in the past, but it's something that we're tinkering with a little bit, be able to put some pressure on the defense. It's good for the main reason. It's good for our guys to see it, because we face so many teams that are going to run the quarterback. It's really good for our guys to be able to see it and defend it.
Was filling the depth chart more important to you this spring than finding starters?
Yeah, definitely. And again, we've talked about this, but it's been fun. It's been productive this spring because we've have a lot of numbers, and we're able to develop depth. Hopefully next year when guys go down, which is going to happen, that's just part of it. The second team guys that are going in are not going to be true freshmen, which happened a bunch last year. So we got a lot more guys, a lot of depth. Last spring, when spring ended up, we were only dealing with about 50% of our roster. So, by having about 75 to 85% of our roster right now, it has been developing depth.
That said, Dana, are there positions you're looking at in July and August that you guys are going to have a look right away? It sounds like inside receiver might be one.
Well, yeah, and we've repped a lot of guys right there, Mike. You know, I mean, who's going to continue to develop? One never knows. I mean, you know, just look at what Mario did last year. He didn't come on until the eighth game of the year, whatever it was. So there'll be guys that continue to develop. We're going to add a few more people and see what those guys can do. You never know if those guys are going to be difference makers or be able to come in and handle it right away until they're here.
Dana, we were talking about the receiver position. What do you want to see out of that position?
Making plays downfield. I think our defense has done a great job of taking away big plays from us this spring. You know, we've had guys, Mario and Kevin have made big plays downfield in Big 12 football games, and we weren't able to do that very much. Now, whether that's our defense doing a great job, you know, which I do think our corners are better than they have been since probably Keith Tandy was here. You know, but whether it's that or whether it's our guys not clicking with the quarterback shut, I don't know.
Then you mentioned a couple of guys defensively that have had really strong offensively and special teams. Anybody stood out?
Well, I think we all were happy with Josh Lambert kicking a 53-yard field goal. Our kicking game has been great with all those guys coming back. You know, DePalma, you forget he's even here, but he never does anything besides snap the ball exactly where you want it to be. And then, you know, O'Toole's had another productive spring, and then Lambert's been Mr. Consistency, that's for sure. All three of those guys have been good. And then when you talk about the overall, you know, special teams is not just those three. You know, you're going to be playing 50 guys, and then the better your depth is, the better your second-team guys are, your third-team guys are, the better your special teams are going to be. You know, Mario looked good on that first kickoff return. And then Wendell back there are guys that I think we can count on. Haven't found a punt returner yet. That's probably the one glaring hole that we have. Jordan does a good job of catching the ball, but he doesn't make much happen afterwards. He's got to get better at that, and we'll see what, you know, a guy like you know, Drayvon is a punt returner guy. So we got some guys coming in that potentially can do it.